Hello there, dear friends, relatives, and whoever else over the Christmas period. I have convinced to start watching all of my content. WhatCulture Wrestling's Adam Clery here, and it's time for a very, very special episode of NXT Ups and Downs. Special because I forgot to bring my Santa hat in. Very sorry. Yes, for the very first time since NXT premiered live on the USA Network back on October the 2nd. Where does the time go? We did not get a live episode of the show. We got not a clip show, not a highlight show, but we got like an amalgamation of some pre-recorded segments in what was just a celebration of NXT wrestling with very, very little in the way of storyline to bother us along the way. Some of it came live from Full Sail University and some of it came live from the Barclays Center before the last installment of NXT TakeOver. In between, Pat McAfee and Sam Roberts and Kathy Kelly, they ran down loads of the year-end segments. They highlighted a lot of superstars. We're not going to talk about them because they were all recapping and stuff, and you know everything that's in them anyway, so we're just going to focus on the 6 wrestling matches we got. Partially because it's much easier, and partially because it is December the 27th, and I still want to be on the sofa. And just in case that caused you to doubt my dedication to this show, I managed to get my nice yellow hoodie in the wash along with this top, but forgot to iron it. That's why it's all creased. But I digress, of course. Hashtag on Thursdays we wear yellow. My name is Adam Clery, and these are all the ups and downs from that slightly weird Christmas episode of NXT. First up, we had an NXT debut as Austin Theory challenged Roderick Strong for the NXT North American Championship. And honestly, when was the last time you can remember a run-of-the-mill title defense for this belt? It either headlines the show, or it's part of a big triple threat match, or it's just bungled in with all the rest of the Undisputed Era stuff. This was a nice change of pace for it. Now, had this been a regulation episode of television, you would have watched that and thought, Jesus God, they're really hot on Austin Theory, because for your first match to go toe-to-toe with Roderick Strong, to physically dominate him in large parts of the match is just quite the push from management. They clearly believe a lot is to be expected of this guy. Putting him in here straight out of the gate is good proof of that. But also, this is Roddy Strong, who is really, really good, so he was always going to win. I tell you what, I had pretty low expectations for more or less every single thing on this show, because it's just when it's a clip show or it's a highlight thing, nobody ever really goes for it because it's not live and the audience is going to be lower anyway. But I've got to say, this match was genuinely really, really good. If Austin Theory can keep that level up against everybody on NXT, not just someone like Roderick Strong, he's in for a hell of a 2020. Couple that with the fact that they're putting him in matches like this already. Big things to be expected, and up. Quick moment please for the surfboard that Roddy Strong managed to pull off. I do not understand for the life of me why this move is not considered a killer finisher in pro wrestling. That should end championship matches. And I'll tell you what else I don't understand about pro wrestling. Superplexes. If you watched our Talking Heads video about what thing about wrestling really annoys you, it bothers me this. A superplex should end a wrestling match. Like, if you want me to buy in to the idea that the AA is a finisher, or that like any kind of drop from shoulder height is a finisher, why is a superplex not just a match-ending killer move? And more to the point, why can someone recover from it in seconds? Anyway, yes, all of that aside, Strong retained the NXT North American Championship. The crowd were on their feet applauding both men, and well, it all felt very Christmassy, didn't it? Sort of. And that skips us immediately to our first problem with this show, because up next was Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Jack Gallagher, and this match was taped at the Barclays Center, which, Jesus, this was a bit of a problem. I've said the entire time I've been doing this show that Full Sail University is simultaneously NXT's biggest strength and also its most glaring weakness. A weakness because visually it doesn't look as good as AEW, but in terms of actual noise and crowd and whatever, it is the hottest wrestling crowd on the planet. And my God, did you notice that fact when it's at the Barclays? Nobody in that arena could give 2 shiny brass pennies about this match. It was so quiet. Now I'm going to give that a down, but I will hold my hands up and say they did wake up as the match went on, which I don't really get why. This was just a series of sequences. Gallagher trying to use his speed and his technical stuff, and Swerve also trying to use his speed and his agility. It just kind of felt like they were going from A to B to C to D. I didn't get this match. I didn't really know what it was supposed to be. It was nonetheless entertaining. And I am going to give it, yeah, it's Christmas. I'll give it an up for the sake of the match being good, but the crowd was very flat and it was all just a bit of a mess. Oh, and I'm also going to give it up to Jack Gallagher coming out dressed as literally me all of yesterday. That is what I was going around the house in on Boxing Day. I might start an OnlyFans if you want to see that. And yes, you're right, I have said this on a previous episode of Ups and Downs because, of course, yes, I'm such a genius, but I reckon Scott is going to get a massive push in 2020. Like, not just because he's beat Jack Gallagher after an episode of SmackDown or anything like that. I just think, if you look at his ability and you look how good he is on the mic and the entire package, I think he's exactly who they're going to need in that mid-card, so watch this space. Women's match now, and it's only just dawned on me that I have been quite happily parroting the name Tainara to you all, even though it is obviously Tainara Conti. I completely missed the bit where they dropped her surname, where they gave her the whole Alexander Rusev, Antonio Cesaro, Andrade, Cien Almas, Charlotte. They gave her the whole weird WWE you are only allowed one name treatment. I missed this, and I was a party to it. My apologies. I haven't got a £10 note on me right now, but I'm willing to bet every single one of you that someday during her WWE career, Candice LeRae moves to the main roster and becomes simply Candice. You can hold me to that. Look, right, if this was a regular episode of NXT, I know I'm already saying that loads, but if this was a regular episode of NXT, I would probably give this match a down because this is two women they need to do something with going into next year. Tainara needs to start feeling like one of the better heels outside of the title picture, and Candice needs to be firmly in that title picture. And this match just didn't really get going. It didn't do enough to show why both those women deserve those spots. It just, again, it was just a bit of a sequence here and a sequence there, and there was I'm struggling to remember the best spots from it. Like, Tainara hits a really good enziguri. That's the only thing that really stands out to me. They both are capable of better, and this match did not give them a platform to do that, when you can do that very easily on a clip show where you're just giving people ring time with no real story in it. You can give them more of an opportunity to do that kind of thing. This match didn't do that, and I would give it a down, but it did enough. It was entertaining. For a clip show, for an end-of-year show, this was absolutely fine. It just reminded you that, yes, Candice is still there and the crowd love her, and yes, Tainara's there, and while she's not quite at that kind of level yet, she has promise. It was a refresher. A refreshing refresher, and I'm going to give it an up, because it's Christmas, isn't it? Just dawned on me I didn't tell you who won this match, but I don't need to tell you who wins this match, do I? Candice LeRae versus Tainara Conti for like 5-10 minutes on television. You know exactly who's won that match, don't you? It was never in doubt, which is part of the reason it didn't really click with me, but whatever. Oh, and I know I said I wasn't going to talk about all the video packages that were going on in between all of this, because you know it already, but the one for Arturo Ruas that was after this match, ooh, I'm excited for that. I am excited to see him. Gonna give it an up? Gonna give it an up. Question, my friends, what do you do with a problem like Dominik Dijakovic? The man is a physically imposing, impressive specimen. He's a fantastic worker in the ring. I will never ever get bored of seeing someone his size hit a moonsault. He has had a great feud with Keith Lee, who has moved on from that feud into the very, very top of the main event picture, into the main roster main event picture at one stage, and he's now just like, what do I do next? The guy needs his Keith Lee moment. He needs something to really excel in going into 2020. And I'll tell you what that wasn't. I'll tell you what it wasn't that he needed. I'll tell you what that is. That's a match against Bronson Reed on this weird show. Tell you what I think the problem is, right? It's this WWE style of having your baby faces sell and sell and sell and sell and sell before they do the big comeback spot and win the match. And the problem with that is, look at this man. Why would he sell for anybody? He is absolutely massive. Like, yes, I know, like, Reed has a slight size advantage on him, certainly in the weight department, but he shouldn't be selling for anybody like that. Drew Galloway has the same problem on the main roster. It's why he can't get into the title picture, because he just shouldn't be selling for anybody, and there's no really good underdog baby faces for him as a heel. You need to turn Dominik Dijakovic heel in 2020 and have him start crushing all the tiny men. The match was alright, but it was really, really slow. Really, really slow compared to the other stuff on the card, and it did just highlight this problem they've got with Dominik Dijakovic. It's just, he's going to be a bit of a spare part next year unless they've got a really good idea from him, and this, if nothing else, was a huge warning sign for that. So while it was relatively entertaining, I am going to give it a down. Oh, and loads of people have tweeted about this. At some point, I don't care how they do it, where they do it, when they do it, why they do it, I don't care. I just need to see Bronson Reed versus Otis. Just Just get that in your head. Just the two of them. I don't know why. I just need to see that. Now another NXT debut, and if you cast your minds back to that slightly weird Evolve show they did not so very long ago, you will remember William Regal stepping into the ring and offering Shotzi Blackheart a NXT contract. It was a bit of a weird segment, but here she is. She's arrived. She's here. And she makes her debut against none other than Bianca Belair, another woman who, like Candice LeRae before, needs to step things up in 2020 and be at the very front of that queue to challenge Rhea Ripley. Now, of course, with your Candices, your Ios and your Biancas going on to be around that main event picture, the undercard in the women's division needs to also step up as well. And we saw earlier on Taynara Conti, she's somebody who needs to come on leaps and bounds. Caden Carter, somebody I think could do very well, but Shotzi Blackheart could well be one of the biggest names in that. And if tonight's anything to go off, she might be, but then might not. Look, I don't want to be too harsh about this because it's your debut on NXT, and I have seen the girl work before. She is normally excellent, but a lot of moves that she has done a million times before came very close to being outright botches. It was a very, very sloppy match in part, which I think Belair wasn't particularly expecting, and so didn't really do a lot to help carry her through it. Like, don't get me wrong, the dynamics in the match were really good, the pace of it was really good, the spots of it were by and large really good, if you meant me snip out all those little mistakes. Like, Belair dominated her and Blackheart looked like a really good underdog face, but just every time you were letting yourself enjoy it, every time you were getting into it, there was just something went wrong, and then just as soon as you got by it, something went wrong again. And again, it's unfair to judge this match in the normal NXT canon because, well, the audiences will be right down. Hardly any of you are going to watch this bloody video, but you just need to be doing better on your debut. Sorry, I got to give it down. I got to. I don't want to. It hurts me. It breaks my little heart. Breaks my little black heart, but it was just bad. Oh, and honestly, man, this Sam Roberts hates Bianca Belair patter is just, look, I know it's not real, but it's starting to look really weird. Like, the guy just calls everything else down the middle except for Bianca Belair, and I don't know, man. That's a brave decision. Your main event of the evening now, and I cannot believe it contains an element that I correctly predicted last week. I said with the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic coming up, what would make an excellent team for that, as they've got hardly any proper tag teams in NXT at the minute, is Keith Lee and Lio Rush. Keith Lio Rush is what I called it, and I swear to God, I did not know about this match. I swear down. That was all me, baby, and they've actually done it, and it was as good, if not better, than I said it was going to be. Yes, you're right. A lot of this video is just me tooting my own cock. Sorry about that. All right, anyway, Keith Lee and Lio Rush. Keith Lio Rush versus Damian Priest and Tiny Knees Tony Nese in what is a version of Worlds Collide, I suppose, because you've got NXT, you've got 205 Live, and Kapowie. Now, normally, I will say, there was no story to be told in this match. There was nothing really for anybody to get invested in, therefore, it was bad. But there was categorically no story to be told in this match, and thus nothing for anybody to really get invested in, and yet, it was really good. The four men basically just went, right, what's the best things we can all do? How can we make those work with the other best things we can all do? Right, let's do every single one of those ideas. It was thrilling. Lio Rush slapping Damian Priest and then tagging in Keith Lee. It's just little moments like that when you're at a show. If you've had a drink normally, but if you're at a show, you just get them, and they're not big spots, they're just little moments that wrestlers do when you're like, I love wrestling. Just a couple of little spots and moments that I absolutely adored in this wrestling contest. First of all, Keith Lee coming out with an entire plate of cookies. That was excellent. The exchange of chops and strikes between Lee and Priest. That was excellent. Then Tony Nese getting thrown over the announce table and kicking Tom Phillips in the face. That was excellent. And then, last and by no means least, Lio Rush standing atop the shoulders of Keith Lee, hitting the final hour from there to give his team the win. That was excellent. Not only does the whole match get a massive, joyous, festive up from me, but I'm going to give it, not the yellow jacket, the yellow Santa hat, because it's Christmas. Honestly, my one Christmas wish, put Keith Lee and Lio Rush in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic and let them win the thing. Like 9 times out of 10, the team that wins it either doesn't need it at all or is just thrown together for no reason whatsoever. Like, you're telling me that Ricochet and Aleister Black needed this win. Oh yeah, Finn Balor and Samoa Joe, the Undisputed Era needed to win this thing. No, give it to two people who need a thing Like Leo Rush needs a thing on NXT to sort of like solidify how important 205 Live is, and Keith Lee needs a thing. He needs a thing because he's done so well, but he's not got the thing to show for it yet. These two aren't going to be anywhere near the title picture for NXT or the North American title picture, I would bet, anytime soon. Give them this! Everyone would love it! So there you have it. Those are all my rambling Christmas thoughts on the very special Christmas episode of NXT. The bits at Full Sail were hot but quite boring, and the bits at the Barclays were dead as out but also quite entertaining. Go and figure. Let us know what you made of it all in the comments below, and of course don't forget to like, share and subscribe. In the meantime though, thank you so much for watching. I've of course been Adam Clery. On Thursdays we wear yellow, but it's Friday, so I don't know, do what you want. And I will see you soon. Goodbye, and Happy Christmas. And if I don't see you, Happy New Year.